We got two segments here with two of the best guys around. We're joined right now by David Eisenbach. David is a professor at Columbia University, candidate for New York City Public Advocate, as a Democrat, of course. And Jadan Horyn joins us as a Republican strategist, contributor to Metropolitan magazine. And I guess if you ask me, guys, Jadan, it's Republican time, so I'm going to go to you first. Really a tale of two cities if you look at, the Democratic National Convention versus the pageant the Republican National Committee is putting on.
Yeah, I think the Democratic National Convention didn't really hit the right notes in terms of kind of the pomp and circumstance. They were going for more of this Zoom virtual kind of meet up in your own home. The RNC clearly has attempted to create, as you said, kind of a pageant. The question is it effective? It has all the trappings, I think, of pageantry. I think it has the trappings of big and grandiose, and I think visually it looks good. It looks better than the DNC. But I do think the DNC did have a little more pizzazz. I think it had a little more star power, and I think at times it felt actually more, believe it or not, intimate in comparison to kind of a distant, grandiose experience. That doesn't mean the RNC has been bad. I think it's been devoid of many of the problems that the DNC had.
Oh my God, yeah.
Technical difficulties, whatnot, but sure. I mean, it definitely has the pageantry and the pomp and circumstance.
David, what do you think? What's your comparison on the two?
Yeah, well, forget about tale of two cities. It's a tale of two planets. On the Democratic planet, the coronavirus is killing off people with a president who doesn't care and is indifferent to their lives. On the Republican planet, Corona doesn't seem to be a problem at all. That's in the rearview mirror. We're going forward, and there's a much more sort of positive view, obviously, of Donald Trump and of the future. So it's going to be very hard to get this country back together. And what we've seen in that divergence of what Republicans see as the truth, what Democrats see as the truth, has been very much on display in these two different conventions.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at it. I mean, I'm kind of, partial because I'm rooting for Trump. But I am kind of like a television connoisseur and entertainment connoisseur, and I'm looking at it, and we talked about it last week. Like the DNC had to replicate people on their Zoom to have enough faces to fill a screen. And on the Republican side, I see social distancing, but I see people, humans, things alive. Michelle Obama was taped
at the Pence event, where everybody is sitting on top of each other, no masks, right? But that's, again, this other planet where the coronavirus is not a problem, and that's the Republicans' play. And the fact of the matter is, what happens with this virus? Do we see a second wave in the fall? That does not bode well for Donald Trump at all. Are we past that flare-up that we saw in the early summer, and is it going to be kind of downward numbers of tests and deaths from here on out? I think Donald Trump wins as a result of that.
Jadan, I would be interested to hear who you thought was the best. Who hit it home the biggest in your view?
So I would say, believe it or not, I know Kimberly Guilfoyle has gotten a lot of criticism from a lot of people, but her speech was delivered to an audience that was intended to be a live crowd. And if you watch it and believe that a crowd is there, that is the most authentic, what I would say, convention-style speech. And I actually was speaking to some friends yesterday, and they're enthusiastic Trump supporters. And they said they were clapping at home during her speech because they felt that she delivered it in a way that you had to clap. So I would say in terms of that hit the high note in terms of what a convention speech should be. I think, Nikki Haley and Mike Pence both definitely demonstrated why they are going to be 2024 contenders, and both gave a uplifting yet kind of somber and realistic presentation of where America is and what America needs to do. And I think both of those speeches resonate with different segments of the electorate, and I think will possibly move the needle.
Yeah, so when I was watching it, and one of the things that I've been rooting for, I don't understand why it's not happening, is the Trump campaign is not really prosecuting any case against Hunter Biden. And I liked when Pam Bondi came out, former Attorney General of Florida, and she just started pounding it home on Hunter Biden and Joe Biden's China connections and everything else. And I think that means a lot to people. Like, if the guy's in for 47 years and his son is really getting paid off by Ukraine and China, then he's for sale. And Donald Trump, at least we know he's not for sale. Hey, Dave, Dave, from your perspective,
it only matters to people who are already in favor of Trump. It doesn't matter to those people on the fence who can go either way.
I think you're wrong about that. I think a lot of independents like myself, I mean, I know where I'm voting, but I think other independents, if there was hard proof that Hunter Biden was getting paid off for being Joe Biden's son, I think there's independents that say, all right, we can't go with Biden now.
The voters that decide presidential elections are soccer moms living in the suburbs. They don't care about Hunter Biden. What they do care about is something that the Republicans were doing very effectively last night, which is safety.
Yes.
The line of the entire convention was Mike Pence's line, "You will not be safe in Joe Biden's America." All right? That line really went at the heart of what Donald Trump's play here is. He's the one that is going to keep you safe, keep your family safe. We see, again, sort of the violence in the streets. That pitch, I think, is going to be very effective in bringing over some of those swing voters. Same voters that voted for Trump last time, white women in the suburbs, who are breaking for Biden now, bring them back with that law and order pitch. And I think it's a very effective one.
Jaden, I think that's on the money. I think the one thing that is innate in women, it has nothing to do with choice or preference, it's innate in women, is they want safety and security for their children. And when women are looking up and saying, wow, if there's no cops in my neighborhood, Trump's going to keep the cops. Biden don't care about cops. Jaden, I think that is a big point Trump should be driving home.
Yeah, and I really don't understand why the campaign has waited until kind of now to really seize this narrative. I think David is exactly right. And if we look, commentators on the left and now even Joe Biden himself have started weighing in and saying that the violence needs to stop, or that it's ceaseless, or that it doesn't seem to make sense. And that is a complete 180 from where they were before, where they said that this rage and that it was justified due to systemic racism and oppression by people who don't listen and understand. Because now they're seeing that there has been a turn in the polls. Biden's national lead has been, by some measures, cut in half. His swing state and battleground state lead has been cut in half. And when you have a split screen of violence in Kenosha, Wisconsin, which is generally a small, kind of middle of the nowhere place, and the RNC, people are looking and saying, wait, hold on. One party is the handmaiden of violence, and the other party says that they're not. Whether those perceptions are real or not, one is condemning it and one is not.
That's right. They won't even say a word about it. All right, guys, we got to take a quick break right here. Just to bring you up to speed before we go out, the Dow is up 211 points right now, busted right through that 28,000 ceiling at 28.5. So good news there, 29,000 is a rocket shot. So Overstock down 13 bucks, along with a lot of the e-commerce companies as they see the pandemic maybe clearing up. The forward numbers don't look as good now. So e-commerce under attack. We will attack you back with a Mix It Up right after this.